Hello everyone, welcome to the online week. So this is our penultimate session webinar, and we have the pleasure to have Sim-Choo with us. So I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Virginie Julien. I'm a coach. I'm a life and career coach for women, very passionate to support women in their objectives and their projects. We have Sim-Choo here, which is a BCC coach. She's also an accredited supervisor, and she's also a mentor. So she's coming today with a topic that is close to her heart, I can say, which is reflective learning and psychological mindedness. So, Sim-Choo, welcome, and thank you for taking the time. Could you let us know first, why is this topic so important for you?
Hi, Virginie. Thanks. I'm feeling very honored and excited, and happy to see that people are joining us for this session. The topic truly resonates for me. It has been a transformational journey of reflective learning, from being in the head to connecting to the heart and the gut. I am sensing and becoming more in touch with who I am. I've learned to enjoy contemplative, having a positive inner relationship with self. It's a continuous process. Sometimes we get into the times when we are not so positive, but I'm becoming more conscious of that, and experiencing my experience, seeing my seeing. For me, seeing fluttering butterflies brings a sense of lightness and creativity. Feeling and smelling the freshness of the warm or cool air after a heavy downpour. And the other day I was just noticing a little frog and gathering its energy, if it's its muscle, taking a leap from the ground to the platform resonates with me. That energizes me with an appreciative sense of awe. Using ourselves as the instrument of change, we tune in into our clients, into our innate, compassionate, resourceful selves, and to what may be happening in the reflective space, offering spaciousness. Something I continue to work on offering spaciousness, dancing in creative partnership with the client or the coach. At this point, I'd like to invite everyone to think of a moment when you feel most proud of. As you make yourself comfortable in your seat and your feet fully rested on the ground, I'd like to invite you to think of one word or phrase that comes to mind and allow our hearts to connect in the space. And outwardly embody the beautiful emotion and express with your body. For me, from a heart shape, and I like to expand that out. Taking 2 change breaths, paying attention to as you inhale and exhale. What does that do for ourselves and our client as we are connecting into the space? Feel free to put down anything that has emerged for you in the chat box as we continue.
For me, it's you mentioned the proud moment, and I thought about something. It's like my heart beat a bit faster, like of joy, and then breathing in and out helped me to recenter in the moment, I think, and to calm my heart again. So I think that's and to be here with you. I'm just wondering, we have Emma indeed in the chat. Yes. She's sharing breathing. She has a calmness and clarity. Calmness and clarity. Yeah. Thanks for sharing it, Emma.
Yeah. And Emma, if I were to invite you further, you can add on, what is this clarity that you are seeing? you can add on as we go along.
Yeah. I will just ask Emma if she wants to participate with us, that we form a trio. So if I understand correctly, Sim-Choo, for you, you've come to a journey where you are being more contemplative, and you are reflecting, and you take the time to see what's happening and what is emerging, and that's what you want to share with us today. Good.
Yes, and I can see that Emma, it resonates with her as well. Thanks, Emma, for your
yeah, definitely. So be aware of what can unfold and let it happen, and embracing the moment. Yeah, it's what Emma is sharing. So thanks for sharing why it is important for you, but why do you think it is important for the coach out there?
Yes. Why does it matter to the coach? Who we are is how we coach and how we are in service of the client's agenda. Our clients often are bombarded by all the complexities and the challenges every day. How then can we integrate the cognitive when they're trying to problem solve, trying to determine new solutions, their thought processes and their emotions, to feeling empowered. So they feel empowered to actually become even more resourceful. In reflective learning, we pay attention to our own experience and emotions, gaining awareness, expanding more actions, and setting actions into motion. Sometimes we do not know why we don't feel like doing something. We do not know why something is holding us back, and you're just wondering why. So sometimes it's good to actually just sit down and say, what's holding me back? What's making me feel angry? What's making me upset about this? So only when we reflect on that, then we find, oh, this is what's happening for me. And then we at least think about actions and think about actions in motion. So as we share in this webinar, I'd like to invite us to explore a few client coaching scenarios as we go along.
Yes, sure.
The first one, on one occasion, I noticed the posture of the client. When the client said there's a change in the situation, there was a moment of silence as we were just figuring out what to do next. Then there was a felt sense of relief. The sense of relief was in the space. And only when we began to acknowledge it, when she acknowledged the sense of relief and did not feel disempowered, then she saw that the change of situation actually brought a whole set of possibilities. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, we decided to actually look at it with so much more energy, and she was excited to look at it with the new set of possibilities. And in this occasion, in this setting, as coaches, we stand back, observe, notice, see with eyes, with fresh eyes, see with fresh eyes, and sense from the heart, and reflect back without judgment. Yeah. And of course, there will be a place where there's a place of trust, so that we can feel comfortable and the client can feel comfortable, that we can sense and actually reflect back without judgment.
Mm-hmm. Which means that, I'm coming back to that, but we should take the time to allow that space and that sensing, because otherwise we might miss that opportunity for the client to feel relieved and see those opportunities coming up if we go too fast.
But you're right. Sometimes that moment of silence actually may sometimes make us feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But only that moment of silence, and then we can truly sense what's happening, and then allowing the client to also feel the sense, and we sense in the space. Mm-hmm. And actually, you may not want to acknowledge the signs of relief, and it's giving a permission or inviting the client to say, this is a sense of relief you're having, and therefore this is what you could be doing next.
Yes. So embrace the silence, which is not always easy when you are
Yes.
busy and you want action. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that example, Sim-Choo.
In another scenario, as coaches, we can support our clients to ambition and connect to something meaningful. A client is feeling unsure and hesitates to expand the role. He feels he has the capabilities, but feeling uncomfortable to go beyond his area. Reflecting with the client and inviting the client to imagine a place of peace and creativity and visualize the imagery. The client connects to something meaningful and feels inspired in visualizing that special place of pride and serenity, a place that the client will go back sometimes when he feels that he needs something to energize him. And with that, there was a sense of conviction, projecting positive energies, because it's from inside out. The client feels that place, the place that he can connect to. He then forgets himself and projects positive energies. And the client was amazed by how the board, when he presented to the board, that the board fully supported. And the board even said, I'll give you someone to work with you. And he was like so much, he began to flourish in that newfound confidence and got such self-esteem that he's already found himself in that place.
Yeah. So you're using that visualization to bring that person back in a place full of, who have the confidence to continue. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Virginia, your screen.
Yeah, good exercise. I might try it to. My screen is freezing. Is what you saying?
Yeah, that's okay.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not touching anything. I'm just like, it's difficult to hear me. Is it better now, Emma? Better now, yeah. I had a bit of a connection issue apparently today. Okay, so Sim-Choo, but what are the typical challenges that coaches are facing, about this topic, self-reflection, what can be in the way?
Yeah, I think everyone can relate to that. I personally can relate to that. One is busyness. Just my own personal experience, like yesterday I was in a whole day of coaching and giving of myself, and you really feel yourself very tired. So physically exhausting. So when you're physically exhausted, it's pretty hard to reflect. What in normal circumstances you want to make time, because when having no time to pause and reflect. So pausing is now, it has to be a conscious thing to do. We're on the jet plane. We even have a song for that. Always on the move, always on the go, and take pride on being always busy and taking on the move. And taking pride in multitasking. How many of us are super multitaskers?
Yeah.
Trying to integrate life and family and work and everything else. So also being very driven and operating with a tight schedule. So busyness actually can be our challenge. The second, as coaches, are we comfortable to be open and vulnerable with ourselves? Are we courageous to see what we are seeing and acknowledging it, perhaps looking at reconciling it? And with our client, are we willing to build a muscle of being introspective, noticing what is surfacing, and discerning the possibilities? And the third one is another challenge of tuning in and processing the emotion is when we tune in to the emotion. How can we tune into the emotion without the emotion taking a grip of ourselves? How could we be more conscious of the unconscious when it is out of the conscious? Considering what intervention would best serve the client, how do we, our own ego, filters, and unconscious bias get in the way? We actually play more than one hat. We ourselves ourselves, the coach, ourselves, the person, the client, and how are we serving the client. So all of that is coming in, and so being able to tune in and tune out, be able to still sense it.
And so you were mentioning, to take, to stop the busyness, take the time to reflect. You also mentioned allow ourselves as a coach to be vulnerable and also to embrace the emotions that we are feeling. Do you recommend to do that while coaching, after coaching, both?
Yeah, it builds up. So, for example, I had was actually doing coaching supervision with a supervisor, with a supervisee, and we actually contracted and said upfront, we would like to be open with ourselves. And towards a little later part, I also recontracted and said, I want to be more vulnerable. I want to be saying that this is coming to me, and I noticed that I was censoring, or say I'm acknowledging I'm self-censoring, censorship. And we were open enough to say, yeah, and even the supervisor say, no, if he had said that to me, that might have helped me there. And therefore I was learning that by being more open and vulnerable. So I practiced that. Then when I started doing other things, like say I was doing some mentoring, I find that out front, the vibes of the openness allows us to just catch in the moment what we said and say, and reflect it back. For example, I was saying something about being more effective, and then I caught myself saying, that's not what a word I really want to say, but I said it because it's just the right thing to say. And that's why I thought, okay, that's not really me.
Yeah.
So I realized I can be my more authentic self, and I can hear myself saying that now. And when I do that, even in my clients, brand new clients, I also try to be authentic and vulnerable. So because there builds our rapport when the other person knows that we're not perfect, that we are also struggling, we are also figuring it out, and as we figure it out, these are all possibilities that we can work on together.
Yeah. So I understand that indeed, taking the time to reflect and be vulnerable and embrace our emotions, we can do that ourselves as a coach during our coaching session or afterwards, and use, of course, supervision to be able to have another perspective and a space where we can share that those emotions and that vulnerability. Yeah. Okay, good. Jumping on that, I would say, do you have specific examples on how supervision can help?
Yeah. Supervision, the word really what stood out for me is the word, the V in the supervision. And I'm a big picture person, so when I realized that V was vision, and I got really excited about that, because it's about enhancing the coach's ability to see in expanded perspective. And when we say the word expensive, it's not the expensive ching money, but the expensiveness. So it's allowing the person to be expensive, so different perspectives. And when we offer a developmental, unique, because it's between two persons, creative developmental space in which coaches reflect on their client work, what may be bothering them, what may be good is happening, and it deepens the learning and becoming more resourceful in their practice. Then and in holding a mirror, reflecting on action. So reflecting on action is something that you are reflecting on something that has already happened. May involve noticing the relationship. Like if I were to have noticing the relationship, you may be noticing the relationship and dynamics between the client and his manager and the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And sometimes between the client and the coach. So all that interplay and dynamics may be happening in the space. Therefore, that dynamics is something that there's a lot that we can be learning about. and something that even the client may not be aware of what's happening here and what's happening with the manager and the ecosystem. And it brings that into the room. And when you do that and actually just think about it, then you find, oh, now I understand. So the client may say, oh, I begin to understand things because of this really happening. So one day, sorry, Virginia, you want to ask?
So during supervision, you put the coach in situation like it can really take the helicopter view of the relationship in between the manager and the coach and the boss, and really take a perspective and understand better what's happening there. Yeah.
Yes, it's like, and when they use the metaphor, the fly in a room, I didn't quite like the fly, so I prefer a butterfly, a butterfly in a room, or a helicopter. So taking a helicopter view is something I prefer to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So just in two scenarios I have. One day a client walks in with the watch and looking at the watch and says, I'm wanting to rush, feeling the need to get on with work. So what's happening for you now? Are you feeling your muscles tensing up? Are you perhaps noticing yourself feeling rushed too? So with this happening, how can we respond gracefully and compassionately, and that got caught up in this wave of anxiety in reacting? Very often we feel that we're in this wave.
Yes, we take it with us. Yeah. Okay. Let's rush because the client is busy. Yeah.
It's like you're feeling a wave right now between the two of us. It's just rush, anxiety. Oh, what's happening here? So we are caught. We are getting caught in this wave, and so we like, okay. We have to like, okay, how can we respond instead of react?
Yeah.
So in another scenario I would like to share is seeing new perspectives, bringing more self-awareness. What may be getting in the way of a coach being in that authentic space? Wanting to be seen as capable. I'm a capable coach. And what might be happening when you are framing a powerful question at which may take away your being fully present. Yeah. Like for example, I was actually talking to one coach, and a coach was saying, and was saying, oh, I'm very curious. And I was wondering whether he was curious about the topic or he was curious for me. And I was wondering, you're curious for me? And I didn't realize it, but I was realizing I was holding back. I was saying, okay, I'm not going to tell you anymore. You're not curious about me. You're curious about a topic. Okay, I pulled back. Whereas another coach was curious about me. And it didn't matter that he or she didn't really understand what I was really saying. All he knew that I was relating the topic and I was enjoying the process. And he or she just stayed with me. Yeah. And therefore, that was one perspective, what I could see in sometimes being our own self-awareness, as how a self-awareness actually can impact someone else.
Yeah, definitely. So either being caught in our own thoughts, like as a coach, like you want to be very good and you are like, okay, I'm not helping now. And by doing that, you are not helping because you are not there in the moment anymore. And as you say, I think curiosity also is when the coachee can perceive it's a genuine curiosity for the person itself to understand better how the person is, then it's well perceived. If it's just because you want to know, it's different.
Yes. And the other thing I noticed is as you are discussing, I can see your eyes expressing yourself or something, your smile. I can feel you are with me. So that our mirror neurons are actually connecting.
Yeah, definitely. The energy that you send also while being in the moment is completely different. Yeah.
Yes. And we are able to see the micro movements of even our facial expression, even eyes are widening with interest or a frown of distraction.
Yeah.
will actually be something our clients pick up as much as we pick up ourselves.
And even they could pick it up unconsciously. They don't know that they've seen that, but they feel like, it's not with me, it's not listening, it's not really there. Yeah, definitely. Okay, and I have a problem with my earplugs. What would be the best practice that you would suggest for the coach? You know, some I would say tips and tricks, practicalities that we can, you know, try to put in action, in motion, to be more self-reflective.
Yes. One of them will be to embrace our own human nature of a heart of compassion, generosity, and creativity. When we model care and creativity with the client, we, as a client, also reflects in the moment. Because when we are in with the client, how does this reflectiveness actually extends beyond the physical boundaries of the room? That as the client actually goes into the workspace and also finds his own challenges, that he can model compassion and creativity. In one scenario, for example, the client was actually bombarded by a response that was negative. So how does a client who sees beyond the hostile response in presenting to an executive, with fortitude, with being resilience, he sees, or he or she sees with compassionate from the eyes of the executive and care. And the client adopts a stance of empathy and say, okay, I understand your situation, I understand the challenges you're facing, and I would like to see what I can do to help you out. That caused a shift for the client's executive. And that executive said, okay, I understand. This is not what I really want, but it's what we need to be doing. And then let that on. And that, therefore, this power that we bring from ourselves, modeling it, can actually be something that the client themselves can bring into the workspace. And that's truly the beauty of being a coach, is being able to help someone else in their life, not only in the workplace, but in their family life when they go back to wherever they are.
Yeah. A switch of perspective by being, by embracing more compassion and empathy that helps you to take a step back and understand the other better, and put yourself in his shoes and try to find compromise.
Yes, and also giving and say, I will provide this support to you. So that, So if I go on to the two more that I have, one is building a reflective practice. So as a reflective practitioner, reflection on action is to linger after the coaching session. Is to give some time to say, okay, after the coaching session, we're not saying, okay, I'm going to rush off to go and get dinner done. Or we say, I'm going to give myself that 15 minutes or even 10 minutes, 10 minutes or whatever time that you feel comfortable to write a stream of consciousness. There is a stream of consciousness that's happening beyond that session that you had. And therefore, a set of notes once the session ends. Writing without stopping to edit whatever thoughts and emotions that you have and insights. And it could be insights that you gathered during the moment that you had the coaching session, and or insights as you're writing them, but not editing it. And you may choose to write, keep a journal. A lot of us don't write anymore. So we can type it in our handphones and say, oh, I've got this thought, and just capturing and building on it. And having this log so we can catch up themes and notice a certain pattern. What pattern of theme is emerging that I'm noticing of myself, noticing of the type of clients I'm having. Is this the type of when are these type of clients I'm enjoying, and when are these type of clients I'm finding a little bit of a challenge? So we can actually reflect by noticing the patterns.
I think this is very powerful, Sim-Choo. It's I'm doing that actually, and sometimes I forget, but I think what you say, you know, just after having all that feelings, emotions, everything that you have shared, and just take the time to write it down, helps you really to come back to it and to say, yeah, I remember I was feeling like that, that emotion, she was feeling like that. and it helps you also on the long run, because if you write it, you can come back to it to see patterns, as you said, and to really reflect on yourself and the type of clients. I think it's very powerful to write.
Yes, and I noticed that Emma has put a very beautiful point on chat. I noticed that clients who have this sense of gratitude, and the sense of wanting to learn and want to grow, and it's really a sense of gratitude are the clients that you find grow the most. Yeah, and Emma was just saying, I think in the chat, she just popped out saying that it was sometimes the client gives you an insight.
Yes. I'm reading. So sometimes a client offers something and it can be like a aha moment for the coach. When the coach is able to see the client opening up, is bringing a clearer and deeper picture of who the person is. When this happens, the coach can be connecting dots at lightning speed, but this process of connecting dots can take the coach away from being fully in the present moment. How to handle this as a coach is the question.
Yes.
So how to not get caught in that wonderful at that moment, and stay with the coachee while you realize, oh my God, this is just happening.
Yes, correct. So as you realize it's happening, that's when we say we're tuning in and when to tune out. So we say, okay, I'm so excited for what the person said, but I'm going to kind of go and get along and tune out and then note it, so that later on you can go and catch it. But in the moment, you're going to have to kind of move on to be with the client.
So breathe in, breathe out. Write maybe a word on your booklet and come back to it later.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Please.
Thank you, Emma, for sharing. It's very nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Emma. I've got one more point. As we just saying just now, tuning into our sensations of lightness or tense, or tightness, or even excitedness in this case, and acknowledging, and as we are more present, we can respond to life instead of reacting, thereby enhancing our well-being. And all of this actually, our well-being, I was listening to the talk the other day with EMCC, and you're saying it's about optimizing our well-being as well. In one scenario, I noticed that something was amiss, and I was ignoring it. So there's something amiss, but I'm ignoring it, and that was draining my energy level. And I was with my daughter. I said, after I do this, I'm going to go shopping and spend time with her and do all of that. Then after several hours, and we sat down for lunch, that's when I paused. So pause, reflected, and acknowledged. There was a sense of guilt. A sense of guilt that had taken a hold of me. It took a hold of me. And when I noticed, I started thinking about it, that I had a flashback of that scene where that play had caused a sense of guilt. So acknowledging it, reconciling, letting it go, allowed me to enjoy the rest of the day. And I was quick to notice, though, that that was about to beat myself and said, why did you take so long to let yourself feel that way? And hence, I am learning to extend kindness to myself too.
Yeah. So this is really acknowledge feelings that you can have, so lightness or tightness, and trying to understand, to let it go and be in the moment, and not beat yourself afterwards because you were so, be gentle and kind with yourself sometimes. It takes time, and it's okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sim-Choo, for all your sharings. It's very enlightening and very powerful, and I've seen the other webinars, and it's very complementary to what other supervisors have said, so it's very nice. It's a real add-on. I don't know if there are still some questions from the audience, from the participants. Just waiting a few minutes to see.
Would you like to, we'd like to invite like Emma and whoever's on the call to share anything meaningful?
Yeah, maybe, yes. Waiting for the participant to answer. It's okay for them. Yeah, so am I sharing that the idea of writing emotions after a session is very powerful instead of just writing how it went, you know. I also remember myself in the beginning, I was writing because I was learning how to be a coach, and I was always writing like, this is not okay, this is not okay, this is not okay. And at some point I said, come on, write, okay, maybe the improvements that you can make, but also all the things that were positive, you know, and your emotions or you felt about it and so on. And I'm doing that since a few months. Much better also to acknowledge both, just not only facts, but emotions and positive things.
Yeah, and like you said, it's what we are saying to ourselves that's helping us or not helping us. It's like you say, that wasn't good, that wasn't good, that wasn't good, and not encouraging yourself.
Yeah. But
It's like,
learning, I'm not doing that anymore. So you see.
yeah. So it's a great learning. It's a great learning. It's like, no, we've gone from one place where we actually are trying to be good, and then now we're being in a place which are even better because we're not trying to be good so much.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Okay. So I want just to take a moment to tell what's next after this webinar. So Sim-Choo, you will be available in the course of 2019 for 3 supervision sessions. Those will be online sessions, possibly on a Friday from 10 to 12, where you will allow a maximum, I think, of 3 supervisees to be in supervision with you on the topic you just explained during the webinar. So as a reminder, it will be for the ACSM member, those 3 group supervision sessions will be offered for 1,000 ringgit. For ICF Malaysia, EMCC APR Malaysia, and also IAC Malaysia, it's 1,500 ringgit. And for other members, it's 2,000 ringgit. And all the information can be found on the ACSM website, where you can really see which supervisor is offering which topic at which dates. And you can then register. We, of course, encourage you to register because as a coach, supervision is very useful to learn and to share. So thank you very much. Very happy to I've had the pleasure to interview you, Sim-Choo. I hope it was enjoyable for you as well. And
Yes.
I will talk to you soon.
Yes.
Have a nice day. Huh?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks, Virginie.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.